Welcome to Wanderlust and Wishes, the podcast where we explore the world one destination at a time.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Krystle.
As travel agents with fantastical vacations, we are here to share our passion for travel and help you turn your wanderlust into reality.
From hidden gems to bucket list adventures, join us as we dive into the sights, sounds, and stories of our favorite destinations.
So grab your passport, pack your bags, and let's embark on this journey together. Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 29 of Wanderlust and Wishes. Today, we're going to talk through traveling to Disney with toddlers. We know that it can be challenging to know kind of the ins and outs of how to handle that. And so we have some great tips and things to cover with all of you.
Before we get started, we just wanted to ask everybody if there's anything you'd like to hear from us in 2025, whether it's a specific topic or show idea, we'd love to hear from you. So please send us an email, DM, leave it in a review. Speaking of reviews, we would love if you would go leave us a rating and a review. It just really helps the show algorithm, and it would just be the greatest Christmas gift to us because we know you're listening.
Yes, we appreciate all of you that have been listening with us from the very beginning and all of our new listeners as well. So just a quick side topic from what we're going to cover. We wanted to cover universal holiday options, and it's not as broad as the holiday offerings with Disney, but we still wanted to cover it, and we still wanted to let all of you know the options, and there's still availability for Universal through the rest of December. I was just looking for a client and they have availability. So if you would like to experience Universal during the holidays, please let us know. The first thing that they have a Universal Holiday Parade featuring Macy's. And so this is similar to when you think of the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade that has the balloons and parade floats that come through. They're not quite as big. The balloons are not obviously as big as the ones in the real Macy's Parade, but it's the same concept. And they go through and they have all of the fun Universal characters in the parade, like Despicable Me, Shrek, Madagascar. And they also have Santa.
A pro tip for that, if you sit near where you can see the Christmas tree, they will light the Christmas tree after the parade comes through.
The performances are at 5 or 5:30. You just need to check the Daily Times guide in the app to know exactly what time it's going to come through.
Next is Grinchmas at Islands of Adventure. Seuss Landing is home to the guests' favorite Grinchmas holiday spectacular show. This theatrical musical show combines elements from the 1966 How the Grinch Stole Christmas and the 2000 Jim Carrey version. And it's approximately about a half hour long and is performed daily from late morning through early evening. When he's not performing, you can see different Who's from the show and other Seuss characters roam around Seuss Landing.
That sounds so fun to me.
All the videos I've seen of Mr. Grinch doing this show they're hilarious.
Yeah, they do a really good job. The other piece that you can find is Christmas in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Now, talk about magical. Being able to see Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley decorated for the holidays. Diagon Alley, they have Celestina Warbeck and the Banshees. They sing Christmas songs such as My Baby Gave Me a Hippogriff for Christmas, A Witch in a Wizard's Wintry Wondrous Land, and Nothing Like a Holiday Spell. So they have their own little holiday versions of that. In Hogsmeade, they also have 2 shows. The Hogwarts Frog Choir, they switch up their set list to perform classic Christmas songs a cappella with their amphibious companions. Those shows are throughout the day. Also, the Magic of Christmas at Hogwarts nighttime light show projects Christmas scenes and atmosphere from the Harry Potter movies, including the Yule Ball from the Goblet of Fire. This show starts at dusk and will run until close. Make sure that if you want to be there right when it starts, check Google to determine what time dusk is and be there about 15 minutes prior to that so that you don't miss it.
There is a special holiday tribute store where you can find all your fun holiday merch, and they switch it up and make it so cute. Just even if you're not going to buy anything, walk in there and just take a peek.
They also have lots of festive food and drink offerings. I'm not going to go through every single one of them just because there's a ton of them. But one of the ones that stands out to me is the gingerbread man cookie that is at Swamp Snacks and DreamWorks Imagination Cafe. Everybody that's ever seen Shrek, you know about the gingerbread man and saying, "Not my gumdrop buttons." So I think I don't know how many people I've seen do that skit as a reel, and it's still pretty funny every time. And then the other thing that I saw that is in Confisco Grill, that's in Islands of Adventure, that looked pretty yummy. It's Fire Nog, and it's Fireball, cinnamon, whiskey, condensed and evaporated milk, cream of coconut, cinnamon, vanilla, clove, and nutmeg. And I'm not a huge drinker, but I'm a fan of Fireball shots, and this sounds really good. This sounds really good. And there's a ton of things in City Walk as well. There's all kinds of things in City Walk at the different restaurants and locations there.
There are fun character meet and greets with your favorite Universal characters, to include Despicable Me, Shrek, and more, to see them in their fun holiday attire.
As you would expect, the Universal hotels are all decked out with holiday and festive decor. They have themed dinners. They have holiday movie nights. So if you're staying at a Universal hotel, definitely check out that schedule because they have different things on different nights.
There's also a very special holiday tour, which is like a 4.5 hour group tour of all the holiday attractions. And I believe part of this is after hours, and you get reserved seating for Grinchmas. You get a meet and greet with Grinch and Max, a photo with Santa, priority access to an attraction, private performance of The Magic of Christmas at Hogwarts Castle, special food, snacks, and drinks. These tours start at $89.99 per person plus tax, not including park admission, but I think it's the only place you can see Santa at Universal.
To get a photo with Santa.
Yes, a photo. And it's just a great way to see all the holiday attractions in like a quick lump sum. There's also the Grinch and Friends character breakfast. You can join the mean green one himself and the Who's Two for a morning feast. Start your day with a sit-down meal of festive food and fun for everyone. Okay, so now let's jump into our episode. I listen to a lot of Disney podcasts myself, and I follow a lot of Disney creators, but I feel like a lot of them are either Disney adults or they don't have young kids, and I kind of have strong feelings about doing Disney with littles. So I wanted to share some of my tips and tricks, some things I've learned. Julie had littles at one point, but so she's not unfamiliar.
No, I mean, I definitely remember the first couple of trips, and it makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference. And, just like you were saying, a lot of the different influencers are there as adults and they're not there with their kids. And that's not all of them. There are lots of them, but a lot of them are experiencing the parks in a completely different way than you're going to experience the park as a family, especially a family with toddlers.
So if you don't know, toddlers, until the day they turn 3, well, if you check in before their 3rd birthday, they're considered guests of Mickey, and they are free. So Reese, little Miss Reese, has been to Disney how many times? And we've not paid for her one single time, but she turns 3 this week, so this was fitting because now I have to pay for her. One huge benefit, especially at Walt Disney World, is as a family of 5, most rooms are for 4 occupancy, but as long as you have a baby under 3, they do not count against your occupancy number. So we have been able to get away with like staying at Pop Century, even though we had a pack and play and it was tight to have all of us in there. We didn't have to pay for a moderate or deluxe or 2 rooms. So you can if you want, but go before they're 3, and you don't have to.
I think in general, not even just Disney World, a lot of hotel rooms that's just what they're based on. They're based on occupancy of 4. Cruise lines, staterooms are based on occupancy of 4. And so I feel like Disney offers a lot more options with that 5th sleeper than a lot of places, across the board, even on the cruise line. they have staterooms that are made where you have the option to have a fifth person versus everything is only either 2 people or 4 people, like some of the other cruise lines.
Yes, it's a huge benefit. So I always get asked when's the best time to take your child. I say no time is a bad time, but don't think your kid's not going to remember it. Reese talks about it all the time. And from meeting Cinderella when she was barely 2 years old. So they remember a lot more and understand a lot more than you give them credit for. So we have a list of like a few general things, and then we will go into detail on some of them. First up, packing for toddlers. You can take anything into the park except for loose ice, glass, and alcohol. So pack anything you think you might need. Not saying you can't buy it in the parks, but you guys have all heard my stroller setup. Use it to your advantage.
And there's going to be times whenever, yes, you can buy almost anything in the parks, but if you're at a point where you need something like now, immediately, not going to make it for another 60 seconds, it's better to have that with you instead of having to go find something at a snack kiosk or in a store or something like that.
And there are some things you can't just pack. Reese will not nap without her soft little blanket corner. So we don't take her like her very sentimental one, but we have one that is similar that we had grandma make like a little strap. So it hooks onto the stroller straps so it doesn't fall out. And it's just like a little 4x4 inch little blanket, but she can hold it up to her nose and snuggle with it and still nap.
That's so sweet. So parking spots for your strollers. Most attractions are going to have stroller parking, and they'll have a sign that shows you where to park, or just look for the like hundreds of strollers that are all in one spot together and you'll find it. The Safari in Animal Kingdom is one of the unique rides that lets you take the stroller through the line, and probably you're almost to where the ride is and you have a little spot where you go over to the side. It's basically a valet type situation that you get your child out and you're able to go the rest of the rest of the line without the stroller, but you're almost to where you're boarding. I would say for first timers to the parks, your stroller may not be where you left it when you come back. So don't freak out.
It never is, ever.
It's really important that you have something on your stroller that distinguishes yours from everyone else, because there's about 1 million different black strollers and they all look the same when you go looking for yours. So have something on it that makes it unique, that helps it stick out and you can find it easily, because it's not going to be where you left it. And they have to do that, just to give you like a backstory. Like, they're not doing that to like play tricks on you, because as people move their strollers around, like they have to move the strollers.
They're constantly condensing. Yeah.
Yes, they have to keep condensing them so that they're not in the way of traffic, of people traffic.
We are going to talk more about quiet zones or places to nap, but this is just kind of a know your kids. If your kids won't stroller nap, or if they won't nap on a dark boat ride, which is my personal favorite, so we can still be entertained while they're napping, plan for a mid-afternoon nap in the room. If this is something like your kid will only sleep in a bed, maybe consider staying closer. Of course, we always recommend on property, but maybe pick the boardwalk area over Animal Kingdom Lodge, just so it's easier to get back. It doesn't take so long.
So next is dining with toddlers. We'll go over this in more detail, the different dining spots, but this is another kind of know your child situation. If you go to Chick-fil-A and they freak out at the cow, you probably don't want to schedule a ton of character meals. Or if you go to any other, if there's an amusement park, close by where you live and they do not have fun with the characters, that's not a good idea probably to spring that on them and overload them with character meals. You want to make sure that you look at the menus beforehand. That's something that we will definitely help you with. Once you decide where you want to go, will have all of those things reserved and can help you guide you through the My Disney Experience app, but it has menus for everything. It's very, very easy to use. Snacks are hugely important, making sure that you have things that are their favorites so that if you get there and you try to order something and they want nothing to do with it because it's not their favorite thing, it's so much easier to have your typical like Uncrustables, your goldfish, your wheezy applesauces, or whatever it is, whatever their favorite thing is, have it on hand so that they have something that's familiar to them.
Yes. And we've talked before, I really love the character good to grow drinks. They're great sippy cups for the park. And if you lose them, it's okay. I'll keep Crystal Light packets handy. My kids are weird about drinking water all day, but just enough to dilute the water so they
Give it
will
a
stay
little bit of
hydrated.
taste.
Yes. Ride restrictions. A lot of your big rides, your toddlers will be too short for, like Space Mountain or Flight of Passage. So you'll have to plan around them. Not saying that you as a parent can't go on it. There is rider switch, and we'll talk more about that, but just kind of measure your kiddos beforehand and compare against the height charts online or in the app. If they're close, I always say it's better to measure in the park because you might get a surprise. I always tell my kids and just prepare them. I don't think you're quite big enough, but let's double check and see how much more we need to grow just so they're not super disappointed if they're not. But depending on their shoes, kids are usually typically taller in the morning than at night. Your hairdo, even the cast member might make a difference. My little Harper, she's always been tall enough for Space Mountain, and it's the same ride height as Flight of Passage, and they always turn her away at Flight of Passage. They're the same height, but I don't know if it's like the slope of where they measure or what. But just because she doesn't work on Flight of Passage, don't disregard everything with the same height.
I would wholeheartedly agree about that. I have working with a family now that the younger child is 40 inches. And so he's going to be able to do some things, but they're also not traveling until February. So there's a possibility that those 42-inch ones, depending on if he grows or not, he may be okay to do that. So we have
And his shoes could even give him an inch.
Yes. Yes. But we have like all of those kind of highlighted to make sure that we know like which ones to look for them, to help them prepare. So next is transportation. So
you all know how much I love traveling, transportation, logistics.
With car seats and strollers, it makes it hard. It really does. It opens up a whole new world. Let me tell you, when you don't have to have a car seat and you can just go in a car or you can just go in a shuttle or whatever it is.
Oh, an Uber even.
Yes, it makes a huge difference. So knowing, what your transportation options are and what they require or what they won't let you do or what they will let you do, such as traveling around Walt Disney World, you have buses and you have the monorail and you have the Skyliner. And then you also have minivans that you can use if you're in a pickle and you need to get somewhere quickly. The monorail and the Skyliner, you can take a stroller on. You have to break them down for a bus. So you just kind of have to be prepared for the logistics of that as well.
Yes. And if you have a side-by-side double, you have to break it down for the Skyliner. But if you have a front-back double, you do not. It won't fit through the doors. So just be prepared for that. Minivans are awesome. They are more expensive, and you can get them, reserve them in the Lyft app. They're like these red SUVs with white polka dots, and they're driven by Disney cast members. So they're so fun to like sit and chat with because they know all kinds of things. We like to use them for Magic Kingdom because they will drop you off by the buses by the front gate and not at the TTC where like a normal Lyft or Uber will have to drop you.
Yeah. And then you have to take the monorail in addition to taking whatever that transportation is. You have to take the monorail over to Magic Kingdom. So it's just very, very helpful. And the thing is, they have car seats and they have snacks and they have movies. And like Krystle was saying, they have a Disney cast member and they're just over the top amazing and make the experience even better.
Yes. All right. The next big thing. I have strong feelings about this. If you have littles, I feel very strongly that you should rope drop in any height ride. You could rider switch where you go up to a ride and dad goes with one of the older kids. But then when they're done riding, I could go and I could take another kid back with me. But how sad is it for this little kid who they've been told they're going to go ride these rides and they get there first thing and they have to sit and wait? Like, how fun is that?
They just get to sit in a stroller and do nothing.
Like, don't start your trip like that. And rider switch also, as much as I love it, it's a major time suck because you're doing the ride twice. And if it's something like Tiana's virtual queue, the virtual queue line could be 45 minutes each time. So it's not the quickest option in the book. So I like to rope drop and any height ride that is very popular and get it out of the way. So I have a list for you. Magic Kingdom, I would go straight to Peter Pan for early entry. If you were there for a regular rope drop, I would go to Jungle Cruise. Epcot, this depends on which entrance you're coming in. If you're coming International Gateway, go to Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. If you're coming from the front, or if you have girls that are like obsessed, go to Frozen. Hollywood Studios, I would go to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Animal Kingdom, I would go to Navi River Journey if you were there for early entry. If you're not there for early entry, just go straight to Safari. Safari doesn't open for early entry most days. At Disneyland, I would also pick Peter Pan. California Adventure, I would do Web Slingers or Toy Story Mania. We like to rope drop just because I know my kids are good until about lunchtime. If your kids don't do well in the morning and you're showing up later, I would use that list that I just talked about for my first lightning lane selection in your pre-selects. And then we do have another list to help you pick your top 3. But if you have older kids or like you don't have to put like an any height ride for all 3, you could still put in like a Tiana's because you'll be lucky to find that same day availability. But if you only have littles, some picks would be.
So if you only have littles, Magic Kingdom would be Winnie the Pooh, Haunted Mansion, and Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear is so fun to be able to let them use the little gun. Even though they're getting 0 points, they're living their best life.
I have the best pictures of Reese just like standing there. Well, babies cannot stand on rides. They will yell at you and they'll shut down the ride. But she could sitting on my lap and like trying to shoot.
In Epcot, you want to do the opposite of what you would typically rope drop, which is, we mentioned Frozen and Remy's. You want to do Spaceship Earth and The Seas with Nemo and Friends. Love that ride. Hollywood Studios, Toy Story Mania. Again, they love being able to shoot at things. And they think that they're like living.
They're doing something.
Yes. And then probably Mickey and Minnie's, even after rope dropping, because it can be a double ride. It's fun. Oh, and Hollywood Studios is probably the least baby friendly park as far as rides. So that's another reason too that you could do Mickey and Minnie's again. And then you could do Frozen. No, it's not Frozen Ever After. What is the name?
First Time in Forever.
First Time in Forever. Yeah, the Frozen sing along. You could do the Frozen sing along show. And then Animal Kingdom, the Safari, of course, it's the best. And Festival of the Lion King, so that you don't have to sit in the sun waiting in line. And Festival of the Lion King is so worth it. And it's such a, I don't know, it kept my girls' attention. Like they were eyes glued to the show the entire time. They love it. So
all my kids love it too. I guess a Triceratops spin would also be another option, but it's going away. So
yeah, we don't know when it's going away yet, but it's going away. Disneyland doesn't have the advanced picks like Walt Disney World does, but you can still prioritize these rides in Disneyland, Haunted Mansion, or Pirates of the Caribbean and California Adventure, whatever you didn't rope drop, either Web Slingers or Toy Story Mania, and also The Little Mermaid as an option.
Depending on what your family prioritizes, we will go through each of these with you. These are based on what has been selling out currently for the last week and last month. We can see all that info. So it will change a little bit.
Yeah, those things are, I mean, the rides popularity. I mean, there's some rides that will always be popular, but there's also rides that just fluctuate for whatever reason. But
Yeah.
like, if your child is obsessed with Dumbo for some reason, like obviously go on Dumbo.
Yeah, yes, for sure. Next is the baby care centers. Each park has one, and these are lifesavers. You can find them at Magic Kingdom. You can find it near Crystal Palace and Casey's Corner at the end of Main Street. This one is a private nursing room. There's high chairs, cozy air conditioned space for diaper changes. You can buy diapers, wipes, medication, anything you might need.
But they also have a room that has a movie playing. So that if you just need to get away for a few minutes and just chill, that also is helpful. And it just lets them zone out, and that has a Disney movie on that you can watch. And that's at all of them, I believe. Epcot, the location is between the Mexican Pavilion and Test Track near the Odyssey Pavilion. It basically is the Odyssey Pavilion. Like if you go over to where the Odyssey Pavilion is, it's like around the backside of that.
Yeah, where the outdoor bathrooms are, around the corner from those.
Yes. And it is large and quiet. It has a nice feeding area and plenty of changing tables. I've been in this particular one multiple times, and I don't know why. I've just always ended up in this one.
Me too.
It's just a really nice, quiet place. It really is. It's perfect. And it's kind of back in like a kind of secluded corner anyway, the way that it is. And there's not really anything back there. So it's a nice spot.
The Hollywood Studios one is near the main entrance by guest relations. And this one's smaller, but it is still convenient for quick stops. And if you need to hit it right as you get in or right as before you leave, you can.
With Animal Kingdom, the location is going to be to the left of the Tree of Life near Creature Comfort, which is the Starbucks in Animal Kingdom. It is a spacious setup as well, and it makes it one of the most comfortable centers with peaceful vibes. I mean, it's an Animal Kingdom, so it's going to be peaceful regardless. I mean, it's just a peaceful place.
The Disneyland one is at the end of Main Street, kind of tucked behind Plaza next to the first aid station. This one includes toddler-sized toilets. So I just think those are always so cute.
They're so tiny. Oh, that's so cute. In California Adventure, it is next to the Ghirardelli on Pacific Wharf. It is quiet and convenient, and it has everything you need for a quick recharge.
Each park also has first aid stations, and just like with the baby care centers, you can find both in the app. And those can all be used for quiet spots for anybody, really.
And sometimes, I mean, I think like with Disneyland, I believe the one in Epcot is also right next to the first aid center. So sometimes they're going to be close to each other, just because it kind of makes sense for them to be next to each other.
Something else is managing downtime with toddlers. Sometimes that could just be letting them run at a playground. Sometimes this could be napping. Each park has a play area. So we're also going to talk through our favorites. Magic Kingdom. My favorite is inside the line for Dumbo. There's a fantastic indoor play area where you can play while you're waiting to get on the ride.
They also used to have, well, they still have for a very short amount of time, Tom Sawyer's Island, and you can basically let them run amok and do whatever they want to. But that's going away soon, so you want to take advantage of it while you can. But since it's kind of isolated, you can just let them run and do whatever. Don't they have splash pads right there next to Dumbo as well, or in the
yes, that whole little area, like the carnival splash pad. I guess so. Add that to your packing. I always pack an extra outfit because of all the splash pads.
In Epcot, they have splash pads near Mission Space and at the exit of Journey into Imagination.
At Hollywood Studios, a good place to get the wiggles out is at the Disney Junior Dance Party. There's a lot of music and toddler-friendly fun, and there are some of your favorite characters from Disney Junior shows if they watch those cartoons.
Yes, this is definitely a favorite, a parent favorite, because it lets
sit against the back wall.
Yeah, you just sit there and let them get all of their energy out. In Animal Kingdom, the Boneyard is a fantastic spot. It is basically like a gigantic jungle gym type environment. but it's contained. So you can just let them run wild and you can just sit there and take a break.
There's only one entrance in and out, and it's manned by a cast member.
Yeah. But sadly, this is going away with the changes that they're making. However, I have heard on good authority that they're putting in another spot that's going to be, it's not going to be the boneyard, but they are going to have a playground. They're going to have a spot that will be in place of this to make sure that all of the boneyard fans are not disappointed. That
They better do it justice or I'm going to be mad. I'm going to revolt. At Disneyland, they have Goofy's Playhouse in Toontown. It is adorable. And outside of his playhouse, there's like a whole little play area. But really, Toontown in general, most of the land has like the rubber soft playground material on the ground. You could let them explore Mickey and Minnie's house. They're not going to ruin anything at all. That's a good spot.
And in California Adventure, the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail, it offers some low-key exploration. They can kind of run around in that area.
So now let's talk about napping on the go. I like to use a stroller with good sun coverage or a stroller fan just to keep them cool. I like a stroller that can recline a little bit. You could also find a quiet corner or head to one of the quiet spots. I have a whole list of quiet spots if you are ready for it. Okay. So these are basically for each land. Magic Kingdom, Main Street USA, go to the First Aid Station by Crystal Arts. Adventureland, the Swiss Family Treehouse, corridor to the left of Pirates of the Caribbean. There's like a quiet corner back there. Liberty Square behind Yield Christmas Shop. It's quiet back. No one ever goes back there. There's a couple tables. Frontierland, Tom Sawyer Island. You must take a raft to and from the island, and some waiting may be required. So just keep that in mind. There used to be have you heard what they've done are they doing anything with the Splash Mountain play area? I didn't even notice when we were there.
No, I haven't noticed either. We didn't really use that area.
Either did I. I need to look into
radar.
That. Fantasyland, there's the pathway leading from Cinderella Castle to Fairy Tale Garden. Pete's Silly Sideshow area, pathway behind the Barnstormer. There's like a whole path that connects Tron to the Barnstormer area that's not known.
Yeah, it's very on the DL.
Yes. In Tomorrowland, anywhere near Carousel Progress. And then
in Hollywood Studios, Hollywood Boulevard, there is a first aid station. Walking around Echo Lake, that's just basically as you first walk in, you're going to walk straight down and then kind of veer off to the left. And you'll see Gertie, the big green dinosaur. And you can just walking around that area. It can be really relaxing. Animation Courtyard, Sunset Boulevard, the Courtyard area by Lightning McQueen, Racing Academy. It's kind of off the beaten path. It's kind of tucked back there. Commissary Lane, outside of ABC Commissary. This is very shaded for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's definitely a spot where you could find a table over there and just relax. In Toy Story Land and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, there's a pathway between Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge. That's a good spot, a good quiet spot that you can take a break. And then Grand Avenue in Galaxy's Edge, there is a tunnel between Grand Avenue and Galaxy's Edge. And there's kind of some little areas tucked in behind. It's almost like rock structures, and you can probably kind of hide behind one of those and not be bothered by anyone. And it's dark and cooler in there because it's
for sure. In Epcot, we have World Celebration, the courtyard and restroom area outside the Imagination Pavilion, or First Aid, which is over by the Odyssey Center, like we talked about. World Nature, you have area between the Seas entrance and the Coral Reef Restaurant. Oh yeah, we kind of hung out there for our meeting.
Yeah.
World Discovery, you have the common area near Mission Space and Test Track. It's kind of really quiet over in that area in general. World Showcase, I would say just walk into any of the pavilions and just walk around, like walk to the back. Especially Morocco, there's like a whole village back there that a lot of people don't even know is back there. Canada is a good one where there's like the gardens that you can kind of weave back through. United Kingdom has a whole garden area back behind there. So don't be afraid to explore the pavilions.
In Animal Kingdom, Discovery Island, there's the first aid station that we mentioned next to Creature Comforts, and the Discovery Island trails. They are around the Tree of Life, and they're nice and quiet. You could probably find a little spot to like tuck into. Africa, Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. So there's definitely little spots in each of these trails. The whole trail is not necessarily going to be quiet. There's going to be people, but there's going to be little nooks that you can step into and just take a break for sure in any of these. The bridge between Africa and Pandora, it's a nice quiet spot. You can also look at the water. And then Asia, again, this is another trail, the Maharaja Tiger Trek. Same thing. There's going to be other people that are looking at the animals, but if you kind of stay away from where those like main
Viewing area.
yeah, those same points, yeah, where people are gathering because of their viewing the animals, you'll find a spot that's nice and quiet.
At Disneyland, there is the pathway near Snow White's wishing well. This is on the right side of the castle. This area is really quiet and has benches. And then there's like the water coming off the grotto. Also, both of the paths to and from Galaxy's Edge on both sides, so either near Critter Country and the Hungry Bears restaurant or on the way to Big Thunder Mountain, there's just lots of space and benches, and it's easy to do a couple laps. Speaking from personal experience.
In California Adventure, the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail we just talked about, this is not just for play. It also has shaded seating areas that are great for just taking a breather and chilling out. Pixar Pier Walkway. On the backside of the pier, near the Incredicoaster exit, it's more quiet back there, and it has some benches and stroller-friendly spots.
Next thing to consider when you have toddlers is entertainment in lines. So we like to pack small toys, bubbles, or interactive snacks. You could use the Disney Play app for games related to specific attractions. This works for adults too, but I like having a couple of like small things to pull out. I also will keep like kind of like the little poppet sensory things or any kind of toys that I can put on a binky leash and hook it to the stroller strap so they can sit and play.
Yeah.
And they're not dropping it. And then I'll like rotate out every so often. So then I'll take those off and I'll like strap them to them while we're in line.
I am not a fan of the bubbles or the bubble wands. I think they're very annoying, but I also understand if you're trying to keep your toddler entertained, they are like a miracle because they love them.
If we are following behind a stroller with a kid with bubbles, John will purposely turn around and walk the other way because he hates getting hit in the face.
Yes. I hate those things, but I also understand how useful they are to keep your child occupied. It's not fun to get smacked in the eye with a bubble. So speaking of keeping them occupied, for a backup plan for Meltdown, keep their favorite comfort items. Like Krystle said, they have a backup Lovey that's just like what Reese loves to have and uses as her comfort item at home. They have that to when they travel so that she has that, and it can make a big difference. Don't hesitate to walk out of a ride queue and take a break if it's not happening. If it's just that, they're not having it, it's not going to be enjoyable if they're screaming the whole time and they're having a meltdown. So it's better to just back away and take a break and reset and go back and try again later.
Another thing is to take dining breaks. So you could choose a table service option with air conditioning. Some popular ones like Be Our Guest, Coral Reef if they want to sit and watch the fish, Carnation Cafe just to cool down and relax. I also really love utilizing mobile order for quick service to save time so we're not waiting in another line. I'll order ahead of time, hit I'm here, and the kids won't even know that John has gone to pick up food. He's back with food.
The mobile ordering is amazing, even without toddlers. Being able to do it and be able to just go over and grab it when it's ready. It's so nice. So nice. I'm so happy that they added that as just like a long-term thing.
Yes.
Sure.
At table service meals, I will say too, with kids under 3, kids can eat off your plate and not be charged for it. But sometimes I will order a specific kids meal, even just for the sides, because they'll have like applesauce pouches or cutie orange and a juice box that I will take and save for later when they need it.
Yeah.
And then I always have Ziploc bags with me. You're not really supposed to take goodie bag, but I am absolutely taking their food they didn't eat and giving it to them later.
Yeah. I don't think that they care about stuff like that. I think it's mostly like they don't want people like piling
Taking stuff off the buffet.
25 chicken tenders on a plate when you know the kid's not going to eat that much, and walking out with it. But if you want to take something that they just because they didn't eat it, I don't think that they don't care about stuff like that. But it is nice that, when you're with buffets that you're able to get food for them as well. And it's not an extra charge.
Now we're going to cover a couple of quick service spots for kids' food. My kids usually aren't very picky, but it's always nice to have like a chicken nugget, mac and cheese option in the back of your head if that's all your kids eat, because I know there are a lot of those kids.
When you need something sooner than later. And I think majority of all of these are going to have the online ordering as well. So you can order ahead if you need to while you're in line waiting on a ride and you know that they're going to be hungry when you're done. So in Magic Kingdom, although you all probably know at this point how we feel about Cosmic Rays, they do have chicken nuggets and mac and cheese on the menu. So that's an easy win for toddlers. Pinocchio Village House, this is a favorite and one that I recommend to a lot of people when they're asking a good spot because I think it has good stuff for everybody. It has flatbreads and nuggets. And then Pecos Bill, I always get this. I always like, this is a tongue twister. Pecos Bill, Tall Tale Inn and Cafe. They have tacos and then rice bowl with sides. So that's a very easy, like if your kids like stuff like going to Chipotle and they have like their basic taco kit kind of thing, it's very similar to that and it's very easy.
Epcot, there's the Regal Eagle Smokehouse. This is in the American Pavilion where you have kid-friendly barbecue and mac and cheese. You have Sunshine Seasons. There's a lot of options here for everybody, but you also have your nuggets and fruit cups. The Connections Eatery. This is towards the front of the park and is a good one for everybody as well. They have a large menu, but you can get burgers, chicken strips, pizza, you name it. You can find that here. And there's lots of seating.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. I feel like Sunshine Seasons is very loud. And I don't know if it's just the acoustics in there,
Probably.
but I just feel like it's chaotic and like overwhelming, even though they have a lot of good options. I feel like Connections just has more space and I don't think it feels as claustrophobic as Sunshine Seasons does. They're in completely different areas. So it just depends. If you're next to where Sunshine Seasons is, that's the better spot to go. But if you have a choice, in my opinion, I would go to Connections Eatery. In Hollywood Studios, Woody's Lunchbox. They have grilled cheese and tacos. This place is top notch. It's the best.
Love that.
You definitely need to get, if you're going to do an order, you need to get that in early because it's a very popular place. And sometimes you go to order and it's like, there's not a spot for another hour.
Because of that, sometimes the walk up is very short.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. ABC Commissary, they have chicken nuggets and fries. They also have a pretty wide variety of options for everybody. Backlot Express, nuggets, burgers, and sandwiches. Again, same kind of thing. They have a pretty large selection and they have a lot of seating area. ABC Commissary and Backlot Express have a lot of seating. Woody's Lunchbox, not so much.
At Animal Kingdom, you have the Flame Tree Barbecue. So you got your mac and cheese, plain barbecue options. You have Pizza Fari for your pizza and pasta. You have Satuli Canteen. If you have picky eaters, you can create your own bowl. Some of the things kids might turn up their nose at because they don't look normal. But if they will only eat chicken. Just go get them chicken, like a side of chicken.
Yeah. So Thule Canteen is, if you're not aware, it's in the Pandora section. So it has stuff that looks different. Even though it's not necessarily different, it just looks, it's that way on purpose. In Disneyland, you have Hungry Bear Restaurant. They have chicken tenders and burgers. Red Rose Tavern. They have burgers, flatbreads, and nuggets. And then the Plaza Inn that has fried chicken and comfort food.
California Adventure, you can find chicken tenders and burgers at Smoke Jumpers Grill. This is attached to Soarin' right there at the front. There's Flo's V8 Cafe in Carsland for your cafe comfort food, kids' chicken meals. And then you have Pim's Test Kitchen in Adventures Campus. They have some unique options, but they're kid friendly. You might have like a giant pretzel kind of thing. So there are things on there that that are normal. They just might be disproportionate. I would also encourage you to go back and listen to any of our If You Could Only Choose One episodes, just to always have something in your back pocket. If you need food, we've listed all of our favorites. We need to do another episode to finish out the series. I know you can do hours and hours of research, but those options are all very tried and true.
So we hope that this has been helpful. We love our families that are traveling, and we want to make sure that everybody has a good experience, even the littles. And, just because they're tiny doesn't mean that they don't remember things and they don't like experience things. It's good to have a strategy as you're going into the parks to make sure that they enjoy their time as well.
Yes, because it's even more magical to watch it through their eyes. So don't miss out on that opportunity.
Thank you for listening this week. We'll see you all next week. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Wanderlust and Wishes.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform.
And remember, the world is full of wonders waiting to be explored. Until next time, happy travels.
Bye for now.